Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy!
That's me, Tiberius! Today, we're going to talk about some very awesome stuff. We have a video game with an imposter in it, a book about a missing author, and we have a totally awesome guest. Today we have the one, the only, the amazing Jazlyn Rosario. Jazlyn is a litigation paralegal and pre-suit case manager.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, you're welcome. And today we're going to start off with the video of the week, and this is going to be a mystery. Almost dun 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 dun. The Tiberius Show would like to thank Boggy Creek Airboat Adventures for being one of our sponsors. I got to go on an airboat and saw a real gator. I even got to go to the gem mine and mine for some gems. We ate a steak dinner at the restaurant and even got some gator bites. If you want to have a blast with the entire family, I suggest you go to www.bcairboats.com right now. Get your tickets today. The website again is bcairboats.com.
And now it's time for the video game of the week.
And now it's time for the video game of the week. Today's video game is Crewmates. So this is a game on the Roblox platform, and because it is on Roblox, you are able to play it on PC, Mac, Xbox, and even your cell phone. And it is free. It was made by Lionly Studios, and this is the only game made by Lionly Studios. So how to play this game is you join the game, and there should already be a match, or, if there's already a match, then you're a ghost trying to finish all your tasks. If the match just started, you are either a crewmate or an imposter. As a crewmate, you have to look for imposters venting or killing or faking tasks. You also have to finish your task. But remember, when you're an imposter, that you can be caught on the cameras in the admin table.
Wow, I think my nephew actually plays that game.
Huh? Well, I asked my dad to play with me, and he was the imposter finding master. So basically, when we were the imposters together, we put our brains together and won. Well, I give Among Us, Crewmates, 11 out of 10 stars because you get to have control of what you do and use the knife or the gun or some other thing to defeat the crewmates when you were the imposter.
Wow, I think that's pretty fun.
Tiberius.com.
You can call him at 407-801-2667.
Wait, you are not Chuck.
My dad can help when people get hurt. He loves to help people.
If you are ever injured at work or in a car accident, you should call my friend Chuck.
You can call him at 407-801-2667.
The website again is cwsmithlaw.com.
Offices, Orlando.
Does it actually have that much W's?
And now it's time for the book of the week, A to Z Mysteries, The Absent Author. This book is written by Ron Roy. Let me read you the back of the book. In fact, Jazlyn, would you like to do the honors?
Of course.
Here you go.
All right, so this says a famous writer is coming to Green Lawn. Dink rushes to the bookstore to meet his favorite author, Wallace Willis, and get all his books signed, but the author never shows up. Where is Wallace Willis? It's up to Dink and his friends Josh and Ruth Rose to track him down.
Wow. Well, this is an AR book and it's worth 1 point. It is rated for 3rd grade and 4th month. This is a great book from the A to Z's Mystery series, and I really like this series. So the story is about Dink and his friend Josh and Ruth Rose went to the bookstore to get their books signed by their favorite author. But he's not there? Well, they were very upset and decided that they were going to find them themselves. Well, they found that he was kidnapped and held in a hotel. They befriended an adult at the bookstore, and she was going to help. The owner of the bookstore provided a schedule for the day, and they worked hard with the adult to track and find him. And then they find the hotel and see him tied up and well, I can't tell you everything that happens in the book, but you should really go read this one yourself. You can get it on Amazon. Oh, and there's a big plot twist at the end, so it was worth it. I give A to Z's Mysteries, The Absent Author, 11 out of 10 stars because I really enjoyed the plot twist that just changed everything and made you want to go back and reread the part of the story to see how it was affected. Great book.
I think I love this book too.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of our dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom Braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering, to trophies and awards. They can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373.
And now it's time for our interview of an interesting person. Today's guest is going to be so much fun. Today we have the one, the only, the amazing Jazlyn Rosario. Jazlyn's a pre-suit case manager for the mega law firm Morgan & Morgan.
Once again, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And so first off, how are you enjoying being on the show?
I'm having plenty of fun. Thank you very much.
Okay, so what does a pre-suit case manager do, really?
Basically, what we do is we get brand new cases, auto accident cases, and we verify coverage for auto insurance for both parties. We send the clients to medical providers to get treated so that they can recuperate from their accidents. And eventually, the goal is to settle their cases so that they can get money from their pain and suffering and everything that they've been through.
So you've been in the law field for 8 years. And what got you interested in the law?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. How I started was as a legal assistant, and then I basically worked my way up to paralegal, and then a case manager, and then just took an interest in law altogether. I just love helping people.
Oh. So what is the best part about working in the legal field?
The best part is the clients, making sure that they get the care that they need and seeing how happy they are once their cases are settled.
Okay. So does it take a lot of training to be a paralegal?
Well, for paralegal, that part is basically preparing the client's cases for a courtroom. And that's to be heard in front of a judge. The case management part is basically helping the clients before it gets to that point. So we try to settle their cases at that stage, but if the insurance companies don't want to settle for full value, then they ultimately have to go into litigation to be prepared to see it in front of a judge.
Well, okay. So what is the big difference between a pre-suit case manager and a litigation paralegal?
All right, so the pre-suit case manager, they get the case from the beginning, right when it comes into the law firm. Nothing has been done. So we basically work it up. Policy limits, medical providers, negotiating the case, and possibly settling it out. If it doesn't get settled out, then the litigation paralegal takes it over, and that's when they start doing basically what we call paper pushing, appointments, mediation, depositions, and the possibility of going to court, either with a judge and a jury or just a judge.
So I see that you can do both. Which one is harder?
I'd say the litigation paralegal position because you have so many different schedulings that you have to do. That's depositions, making sure that everybody's available. And that's not just the client depositions. It's the defendant, the person who struck the person, the doctors. You have to depose doctors because those doctors have to give their opinions medically. You may have to depose witnesses, and that's where you get their version of the story. And then after that, mediation, where they possibly may settle the case before it goes to court. But none of that is a guarantee. So it's a little more than anything because every judge has a different requirement to prepare for litigation. And the judge's calendar is very important because you cannot miss those dates. You cannot miss those deadlines. So a litigation paralegal is definitely a little bit more harder to accomplish because you're on a time clock, no matter what.
Okay, so which is more fun?
I say pre-suit case manager because you have the ability to be able to work with the client without the pressure of a judge's calendar. You work with them, you make sure that they're treating, you have the ability to possibly settle their case. So you get to try to expand what they receive from settlement and actually get to see a smile on their face because their case is finally closed.
So the main point for you as a pre-suit case manager is you're trying to settle the case so that you don't have to be worried.
Yes, and also to not worry the client because when it goes into litigation, it could take 2 to 3 years depending on how far behind the courts are. So their case may never even see a settlement for a while when those clients are suffering with pain and financially struggling.
That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know you worked for the guy on the billboard, but have you met any other famous lawyers?
I have met a few of the lawyers that you know of. Beninati I met. Dan Newlin.
Okay.
I don't think I've met anyone else just yet. But then again, I'm not very social.
Me, I'm not very social as well. But, yeah. So, were you nervous when you met them?
I think I was most nervous when I met Mr. Morgan in person, but he was so cool when I met him that it was almost as if I've known him forever. So it was actually nerve-wracking, but then not nerve-wracking because he was really nice when I met him.
Don't worry, Jazlyn drove into the parking lot one day.
I didn't know that, by the way.
Oh. Okay, so I see the commercials and they say that size matters. How does working at a larger law firm make it better?
How can I say this? I think that when there's a saying, when you work in numbers versus smaller law firms, it's harder for smaller law firms to be able to manage a lot of clients because there's not enough manpower. When you work for a larger law firm, you're able to offer many services, not just one or two. You can do many different types of law. Morgan & Morgan offers, I think, maybe 15 or more, if I'm not mistaken, if you go on their website. And they try to accommodate in every sense possible. It's almost kind of what you would say a one-stop shop, if you like to look at it like that. So, I mean, that's the benefit of working for a larger law firm, is that you have a lot of different law you can look into.
Okay. So what is your greatest achievement while working in the legal field?
For me, is helping the clients that I can settle their cases for, being able to get them the most recovery that they can get, especially the ones that have possibly lost their jobs or lost their homes in the midst of even having an accident.
Oh. So who helped motivate or inspire you the most in following your dreams?
I'd say my coworkers. Every law firm that I've been to, I always have someone that I meet that encourages me to do better. And that helps me tremendously. So I'd say the people that I work around, especially when you work in a great team environment.
Okay. So what is the craziest situation that you have run into while working in the field of law?
Everyone is different. That's one thing that you have to learn. No two clients are the same. Some are needier than others. Some are easier than others. So everyone is different. But patience is the biggest thing that you have to have in this field.
Yes. My dad is a very hard person. So since you do so many cool jobs, do you find it hard to juggle them all?
No, because at the end of the day, all the tasks that we have to do is a common goal. The goal is to make sure that we take care of the clients and get them what they need at the end of each case.
But what if you don't?
If we don't, then they have to move on to litigation. There's nothing that we can do unless they stop treating and they hurt their own cases, which not many people realize. So it's a constant educating your clients and making sure that they're aware of how important it is to go treat.
But then it's basically only a one-time thing. But yeah. So when you were a kid, what did you want to do when you grew up? Did you always know that you were going to work with the law?
No, I didn't. Growing up, I thought I wanted to be a teacher. That dream slowly went away. Then going into the working field
It might have worked. Might have worked.
At 14, I was teaching classes in church. And I did that on purpose to be able to stay focused, not be on the street, doing things that I wasn't supposed to, because I actually grew up in New York, not in Florida. So in New York, it's a little bit different of an environment than it is in Florida. So for me, I had to do things to focus on staying positive during my teen years versus going and hanging out and doing things that I wasn't supposed to be doing. But I'm glad that I went into law because it gives me a broader opportunity and more knowledge of different things.
Okay. So kind of run me through it. What kind of tasks does a pre-suit case manager have to do every day?
Well, we have to check our emails. We have to distribute our mail to our cases. We have to verify coverage for policy limits for the AFO party and our client. In health insurance to make sure if they did or they didn't have health insurance. Then after that, follow up on medical record requests and just preparing for the ultimate goal, which is to settle the case.
Wow. So if you could think of one thing that would make your job easier, what would it be?
More time, because there's not enough hours in a day to do what we do. I don't think there's enough hours in the day, enough hours in the week. I mean, I don't even think we have enough days in the week to be able to do what we do. And it doesn't matter if I work 5 hours, 6 hours, or 10 hours a day. There's always something that needs to be done.
I wish there wasn't 100 hours in a day. So what advice would you give my listeners if they wanted to grow up and work as a paralegal or pre-suit case manager?
Start young. If you want to learn anything in law, go to college for it. If you have a passion for it, do it from the time that you are done with high school. I mean, you can even start it in high school. They have classes for you kids to be able to start in law, to determine if you even want to be a lawyer, paralegal, or anything like that. My son is 16, going on 17, and I'm trying to encourage him to be able to find his passion now so that when he does go to college, he's not wasting much time, because once you finish high school, college costs money. So that's where you have to get your scholarships and you have to know what you want to do.
Yes.
But if you do want to do law, start in high school. Start in high school because it will give you the initial passion that you want.
Well, if you could go back 10 years and tell yourself something, what would it be?
Go back to school. I tell myself to go back to school, maybe get different degrees, not just one degree. Multiple degrees to be able to promote myself in different fields.
Like a master's degree, doctor's degree.
I want to be a jack of all trades.
So what was the first job that you ever had?
First job I ever had was volunteering for a Catholic church, but that was a volunteer. First paying job was an aftercare school coordinator, doing after school with elementary students. Basically tutoring and things like that. And that was all between the age of 14 and 16. So I started very young.
Okay. Well, was there anything you learned from that job to help you be a better paralegal?
I would say dealing with children, it's just like dealing with people. You just have to, with children, it is patience. And it's like in this field, you have to have a lot of patience.
It's a lot more than being a teacher when, there's a ton of things that you have to, get through.
Exactly.
Instead, you sometimes have to wait and sometimes don't. Because they think that you're the boss.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah. Well, what was the biggest mistake you ever made and how did it change you as a person?
The biggest mistake. I say the biggest mistake for me was waiting on finding my career when I could have been doing this since I was 18 years old. But when I turned 18 going on 19, I started my family. So life was on pause and I didn't really know what I wanted to do exactly.
Yeah, where am I going to go in life?
Yes. So I started in banking and I did different banking positions. But when I got into the legal field, this is something that this was my biggest regret, not starting it as soon as I finished high school.
Well, I do kind of have a joke for you.
Okay.
Why can't a bank keep a secret?
I don't know why.
Because it has too many tellers.
That is a good one. And I've never been a teller. That's one position I never did. And I wanted to, but I never did. I did the back office. I was always support.
It would kind of be hard, though. Because you would have to be stuck with a lot of people.
Yeah, and all that money. Probably.
All that money, you think that you could just keep it for yourself. And you can't.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you just
I
can't.
know. It'd be
You
a
just can't.
dream. It'd be a dream, but, wishful thinking.
So when you're not working as a paralegal, what do you do for fun?
That is a very good question. I go to the batting cages, and I love baseball and softball. I bowl for fun. I'm not a professional bowler, but I just do it for fun.
Okay, so do you play video games?
Actually, I stopped playing video games. I
you
know,
on your
sadly.
phone?
Well, I do, but they're so, how can I say this?
They're considered video games.
Okay, so here, I do them every now and again. I play solitaire just to kind of,
Solitaire is a video game.
I basically do it to wind down from the day. I did it like for an hour last night because I was nervous for today, but it helped. I think I'm doing pretty good.
Don't worry. When I get frustrated at school and I'm so scared, I normally just do 4 hours of just watching videos and playing games. And then it just calms me down like, now I can finally do my work.
Yep, it's a stress reliever.
Yep. Okay, so what is your favorite book to read?
Good question. I haven't been reading lately. I had books when I was younger. I loved reading. Yes, I did. But when you start having children of your own and having to work full time,
Then
books
you're not.
there's no time for them in between.
Yeah.
At that point, you're fighting to go to sleep if you can get that.
I somehow still can, and I'm just
Yeah, I
still
know.
tired.
I hear you. There's not enough hours in the day. Remember that.
Okay. Now, can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid show, but that one story, well, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, you can tell me.
Okay. Can it be anything? Not about work, because I don't have anything for work.
It could be anything,
Okay, so
but it can be an embarrassing story or just something I don't want.
no, it's embarrassing by myself. So what happened was, one of my very first jobs at 16, 17, paid a decent salary. I was working at a car rental company, and that was after I did an internship.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, so of course, at that time, 16 years old. So I was driving one of the vehicles in the parking garage at the airport. So instead of hitting the brake, I hit the gas and I struck the metal beam in the parking garage. I was by myself. And I stopped driving for about 3 years because I was scared to get in a car.
So you waited until you were 19 years old to drive?
Yes.
Or 20?
Yes, unfortunately, because I was so afraid of that accident by myself that I was too scared
You
to
would do it again.
I tell you what, I waited too long because I think that I should have overcome that fear, but I didn't have anybody to help me past that.
Yeah.
But when I did finally beat that fear, the first time I drove the car, I actually went on the 408 in the rain because I refused to go on local traffic because I was just in a rush. So yeah, after not driving for 3 years, I went on the highway, and I've been doing it ever since.
Wow. Yeah, I know how to drive a four-wheeler, and it's even harder.
I believe you.
I'll tell you that.
I believe you.
Well, is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you?
I'd say for me, like I said, I started late with my career, and the only thing that I could tell most listeners, especially the young generation, is please, please, please don't wait till your older age to find what you want to do in this life. Try to find something that you love to do, passionate to do, because it took me a while.
I have at least a ton of different things, and I still don't know.
That's okay. You
So-
still have time.
Yes. Well, do you have a website or Facebook for my listeners who want to follow you?
Unfortunately, I don't. I just have, so I have Instagram and TikTok, but I only use those accounts to watch videos. I don't really do anything on them.
Oh. So you don't really do anything on it?
Like social media,
No, just you just do it for the calming down.
Yes. Yes.
So what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
Honestly, you've asked me great questions, especially when it comes down to giving advice for your fellow listeners. And the reason for that is because in my age, being 40, I've made many mistakes in my life, and I have my 2 kids that I am still trying to make sure that they are in the right path. And the goal for parents is to make sure you guys do what we didn't do or what we didn't get to do in our lives.
When's your birthday?
June 7th.
Oh, so it's already passed.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Jazlyn, for being my special guest. And can you stick around for math corners?
Of course I will.
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
Thank you, Jazlyn, for helping me with math corners. Today, we're going to talk about absolute value.
Fun.
So, I have been doing my school math questions, and they had an exercise about absolute value. So first, we start with the definition. It's defined as the magnitude of a real number without regard to its sign. But it does not matter if it's negative or not. So, to put it for normal people, it's the distance between the number on the number line and 0. So let's say we have ask for what's the absolute value of 6? And the answer would be 6 because it's 6 units away from 0. If we wanted to know the absolute value of negative 5, the answer would be 5 because it's 5 units away from 0 on the number line. Now this is used a lot in programming. It's an easy way to remove the negative sign from a number. My dad said it is used a lot in video games and programming the AI of bad guys in the games.
Wow.
It's really cool.
Yeah, that is.
So Jazlyn, do you now know all about how to find the absolute value of a number?
No, I'm actually going to need you to remind me, please.
Okay, so it's basically just turning everything to a positive.
Okay.
Let's say we have negative 146.
Mm-hmm.
What is the absolute value of it?
I don't know, tell me.
146.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the correct answer is it's 146 units away from 0,
Mm-hmm.
but I just turn it into a positive no matter what.
Okay, perfect.
It's still, because it's always a positive, and you already know the answer because it's basically giving you it.
Oh, wow, okay.
Well, thank you so much, Jazlyn, for your help with math.
Of course, my pleasure.
Mid-State Fire has been providing top-quality fire equipment services for 3 generations to the Central Florida area. Don't wait for an emergency to repair. Call Mid-State Fire today at 407-246-8855. Get your fire extinguishers and emergency lighting for both your home and businesses by visiting www.midstatefire.com. That number again is 407-246-8855.
And now it's time for the heart of a lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the heart of a lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. So this week, we're going to talk about obedience. For me, I think obedience is being fully committed to doing what is pleasing to God. And the qualities of obedience are compliance with a good attitude, respect for the laws. And you know when someone is obedient when they follow instructions willingly and thoroughly. So I saw obedience this week when I was in Minnesota with my mom. So she was at her high school reunion and she had to stay with her friend's mother. Well, I mean, I got to. And then she gave me instructions, and I saw obedience when I was in Minnesota with my mom. She was at her high school reunion and got to stay with her friend's mother. She gave me instructions, and I needed to obey while my mom was away. I also got to do some cool things like drive a 4-wheeler and even a boat. But each time I was provided instructions, I needed to obey and follow all the rules so that I could safely enjoy the cool stuff. So Jazlyn, Did you see or use obedience at all this week?
I use that every single day. I'd say with the clients, my own children. You use it literally every day without you realizing it.
Well, of all of the Heart of a Lion virtues, which is your favorite? Which is either leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility.
Leadership, I've always struggled with that, me personally, because I always like to be the person in the background.
I struggle with being obedient.
I could imagine, but I think with time, it'll get easier.
Yes. So no. But we should always try and be lying strong in everything we do.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
Hey, that's our show, folks. Time to thank you, that one. The amazing Jazlyn Rosario for being on my show.
Thank you again for having me.
You're welcome, and it's been so much fun talking with you today. And I hope in the future that I get to visit your office and see how a big law firm looks and maybe meet the big guy.
I think at this point you never know.
I never know. I never know. So you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show. And please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and subscribe. Also, be sure to listen to us next week on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy!
The Tiberius Show is not filmed in front of a live studio audience. Executive producer Joseph Boy. Production editor Pierre Laguerre. Green Room manager Danny Boy. And your program host, Tiberius Boy. The Tiberius Show is copyright 2018.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call Your Computer Solutions today and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely and make it fast again. Our phone number is 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad, my computer's fast again. Now I can do my homework. Thanks for calling Your Computer Solutions at 407-826-0810.